Hello and welcome to Trigger Warning. I'm Hayden Hewitt and I'm joined by someone who sat forward very quickly when he heard the countdown. It's Buck Angel. How you doing, fella?
I'm good. It's so good to see you and actually talk to you and not
I
text
know.
each other.
Not just hanging out on Twitter winding people up.
Wow,
Well,
dude.
listen, thanks so much for joining us tonight. For anyone that doesn't know, Buck is an entrepreneur. Has been, I don't know if you still are, an adult movie star.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trans advocate, motivational speaker, tranpa, and now terrible transphobe. You've covered the whole thing now. Just obviously a lot of people that watch this will be quite familiar, but for those that aren't, 'cause I know some of our regular audience are all terribly confused. Some might have even gone and watched a video and been really confused. You were born a woman and transitioned. Weren't you one of the first female to male transitions in your part of the world?
Yeah. In Los Angeles, I was the first with the doctor. So I was on some level an experiment for sure. That was 25, 26 years ago. Yeah,
Right.
long time ago.
Because the only thing I've seen from you around that time before was the Porno for Pyros video you were in.
That's right. And that was before my transition. Oh, I didn't know you knew I did that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was me prior to. So anybody here that wants to see me prior, you can go to YouTube and punch in Porno for Pyros maybe. And then I think I come up on that. What was it? Cursed Female. That's the name of the video.
That's the one.
Cursed. Which, that it was really ahead of its time because they didn't play it on MTV. They wouldn't play it. They said that it was too risque.
Too dark. Too dark.
Too dark.
You were dangerous even before, dude. Dangerous even before.
Even when I was a woman, I was dangerous.
So, I mean, you transitioned. I know you were the first over, but by today's standards, certainly quite late, sort of in life.
Yeah.
But I think what throws most people, and I've got to admit, it amuses me greatly, is you're a bloke. And in your time, you've been a big, muscly motherfucker. You've been a big motherfucker. And then they click on one of your videos and go, "Oh, hold on a minute, that doesn't quite make sense." That's not what I was expecting. Did you never consider sort of bottom surgery or anything like that?
Yeah, no, good question. Of course, because we all know the penis makes the man. So that being said, I wanted a penis for sure, and I tried to do that. But remember how old I am, and back in the day, they didn't have these surgeries, and what they had. And no disrespect for any guy out there, any trans man who chooses to do bottom surgery. That's their choice. This is my story. So, people get offended whenever I speak about shit. But that being said, I didn't do it because it just wasn't good enough for me. And that's just me. I'm kind of a perfectionist. And also, I want a penis that works. That's just me. I don't want to just have a penis, So I had to opt out of it, which kind of sucked. But, I sort of consider myself a guy who was born without a penis on some level. That's how I live my life.
So you can't ever write your name in the snow. I guess unless you change your name to
wrong.
Whoosh. Unless you change your name to Whoosh or something like that. That might work. Yeah.
Dude, I literally squat in the snow and then I move my body around like this. So yeah, I can.
Just really big letters full of footprints. Now, obviously, a very interesting life. You had your adult career, which I believe you produced most of those films, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that's a good way of keeping ownership. Because I'm not hugely familiar with the market. I know there's one or two people in chat over there that have been really looking forward to talking about this. But from what I do know, obviously the male to female trans market's huge. Because there's so many of them, they can't help getting their cocks out on Twitter, let alone in porn films. It's everywhere.
I know.
So, I mean, when you went into that and decided, well, shit, this is what I'm gonna make porn films. How much resistance did you meet trying to move into that market?
Whoa, I got nailed because it was 20 years ago. I created the genre. I created the genre of trans male pornography, and so my parents are so proud. Just kidding. but that No, I got pushback from the porn industry. Can you imagine that porn industry where you can see everything, do everything? They hated me. They called me a freak, like, get out of here. We don't want you. It was horrible. I had to seriously shut my ears and just sort of look forward and do what I needed to do. It was a very difficult space to be in, but I made it through because I kind of believed in what I was doing as an important space. I do believe in pornography, so it's not for everybody, but for me, I do believe in it as a great platform on some level.
Well, of course, that's another thing that brings you into. Just in case you didn't have enough conflict in your life, with the gender critical side of things, a lot of them are radical feminists who really don't like porn at all. No, so it's fortunate that you can catch shit off them as well.
I mean, everyone. I catch shit off everyone, my friend. Everyone. Every group of people, they find something wrong with me. But how I look at that is if I'm on your mind, I'm doing something right. Because if you really just didn't like me and you didn't like what I would do, if I don't like you and I don't like what you're doing, I literally shut you out of my world. You're just not there. So I don't understand how people can dislike what I do and not just remove themselves from my space. So on some level, I don't necessarily think that they hate me as much as they do, and they're intrigued by what I'm doing, but they can't sort of be honest about it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah. I get it because we're dealing with some very intense people. Before we get to all the heavy stuff that's going to trigger the shit out of some people, which we will, I promise. We spoke about conflict. I just want to bring up Stephen Crowder. The incredibly successful right-wing commentator. When he was on Joe Rogan's show, he said that you'd offered him to some fisticuffs. Did he pussy out?
Did I do that? I don't remember.
He says you decided you'd quite like to give him a stern talking to. I just wondered if he pussied out a little bit, just...
I don't know. Maybe he said something to me, and you know me, I'm kind of a smart ass right back. So you can be a smart ass to me all you want. I'll be a smart ass right back. I don't take shit from anybody, nobody. If you want to have a conversation with me, so I don't know if we got into it, or I can't remember. I get into with so crazy people.
It's not that he's certainly crazy, stuck in his mind. Well, if
I'm like, who is he? I don't even remember.
If you ever do clean his clock, make sure you get it on video, please, because obviously. We wouldn't want to miss out on that one, I'll be honest with you. We really, really wouldn't. It's just something I caught on... I was doing some research, obviously, before I chat to you, so I can learn where you've come from and everything like that. And a Joe Rogan video.
He probably was saying that I wasn't a real man. He was probably saying I wasn't a real man. And then I probably said, really? Well, what's a real man? And then I said, really? Well, let's get in the ring together, my friend. I'll clock you. Joe Rogan loves that shit. Joe's actually a friend of mine. He's a cool dude. Joe Rogan is a cool, honest, straight up human being. That's what I love about Joe. Some people don't like him, but he literally gets to the crux of the conversation, is willing to bring people on that are very controversial like you. And that being said, I love that. I just love that about people who are not succumbing to the bullshit like censorship and like literally having conversations with people.
I've got to be honest, dude, given the normal content of my shows, I ain't getting politicians. I'm getting people involved in the other side of things, the cool people,
That's right.
But Joe Rogan,
that's right.
he's monstering it. He owns the podcast environment.
Yeah, he does.
Now. It's incredible to watch. But I do enjoy the shows more where he gets that little bit too wasted. They're my favourites. When you can see him losing his track, I enjoy that.
He totally does. That's why I don't get stoned when I do shows. Because when I use cannabis, it's just like my thing. He's a stoner. And I remember when I went to the show, he was like, you want to have a hit for this before we start? I'm like, no way, dude. I'll just be like laughing the whole time.
Now you're in the cannabis business, aren't you?
Yeah.
Certainly were.
Yes.
How's that panning out? Is that going well?
Well, it's a difficult space to be in because I started my business 5 years ago with my piggy bank and I just cracked it open and put all my money into it. And luckily, I've been able to sort of sustain that. But we have billion-dollar corporations coming in now, literally dumping billions of dollars. And I'm a little guy in it. So I'm pretty much hanging on. But I think because, again, I created a very specific niche inside the cannabis world and I deal specifically with the LGBT community, then I'm safe and people love my work and they really see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of surrounded by good people.
And you've got your niche.
That's right. That's the important part of business.
Absolutely.
That's right.
It's golden, isn't it? You own your niche.
Yes.
And people will walk past
That's
one
right.
shop to get to yours. I actually listened to someone talking about that just tonight on a stream we did. It's Stephen, I think he's in chat. He does a business podcast stream on a Thursday afternoon. He spoke about exactly the same thing, owning your niche. Now, that's the introductions out the way with. Let's talk about how fucking insane the world's gone. Just this
Dude, it's so crazy.
Oh, man. I used to be incredibly liberal on the trans thing. I don't know how it works for everyone, but for me, it's like, you're a bloke. Do I see you the same as a natal male? Probably not. But you're a man, and I'll address you as such. A trans woman, do I see them the same as a natal woman, a female? No, I don't. And I will use whatever pronouns they're comfortable with, but I won't be compelled. It's like if you said to me, you will call me a man, you have no choice. The first thing I do is call you mum. I can't help
That's
it.
right.
That's the way I'm wired. And I where I grew up, there was someone whose parents were there, she was trans. She used to hang out because she'd be fixing her Jaguar XJS. And I'd be, cleaning my motorbike. And it never occurred to me there was anything to give a shit about. It's like, you do your life, I'll do mine. But we don't live in that world anymore, do we? We live in a world where you must comply. Now, I caught a post from yourself on Twitter where you said, look, I was born female. I am female, but I'm a man. And I thought, well, okay, yeah, cool, great. The amount of shit you took from trans men.
Wow.
You were erasing them, dude. Do you get this kind of abuse often from trans men?
Daily. Somebody writes me something. Somebody has an opinion about me. Somebody does a whole YouTube fucking video on how Buck Angel needs to fuck off or some nonsense. I'm like,
that was
wow.
it. Buck Angel, please stop. I couldn't watch
That's
it.
right. I couldn't
it.
watch it, dude. I tried, but I'm like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, whatever.
I often wonder if, it's a hard one to come across because this will just fucking make people irate, but you've got transsexuals, and then you've got the modern Tumblr trans types with 72 flavours of gender and I can't keep up. I'm 48. I'm past that shit, I don't think they're trans. I just don't see them that way. If you're a trans woman, because I can't imagine being a trans man because I've never been a woman at any point in my life. But if you were going to be a trans woman and you wanted to be seen as a woman, wouldn't you fucking behave like one? And I don't mean be demure and just inviting people to suck your dick. Deciding that everyone has to agree there's such thing as a lady dick.
Yeah.
And how is that original equipment for a lady? When you spoke, what was the tagline you gave yourself? The man with the pussy.
The man with the pussy. But you remember what in context, it's in context to a very, I don't run around saying, I'm a man with a pussy. Literally in context to my pornography. Yeah. It's all marketing. It's all about marketing. It's all about, and that's why I am where I am today, because I marketed myself as the man with the pussy. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's all play on words.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, I do not believe I'm a man with a pussy. I believe I'm an actual woman who was born female, who decided they needed to be male and transitioned into that space. This is the first time in the whole history of my fucking sex change that I have to continually talk about being a woman because they're trying to take biology off the table. So I have to continually talk about my past life, which I haven't had to do forever. And then now I'm having to like sort of legitimize my own transition on some level, which is unbelievable.
Well, isn't that the weird thing? They talk about cancelling a lot and denying their existence,
Right.
cancelling their existence,
Right.
which I'm going to be honest,
Right.
if I could cancel people's existence, there'd be no one fucking left.
I hear you.
If someone gave you that button, you'd be pressing it all fucking day.
That's right.
But isn't it cancelling trans people to deny sex?
That's right. It is. That's why I talk about it so much, and I talk about this this idea that biology doesn't exist and that we were assigned female at birth. You know, here's the deal. I don't care what. Everyone can live their life, man. That's who I am. I'm a human rights activist on some level. I believe you can choose and be whatever, even a unicorn. I don't care. The problem for me is when you start to insist that I am a unicorn too, and that I need to be part of this situation, and that I'm under, and that's not okay, because now you're telling us all trans people, we all have to speak alike, look alike, be alike. I don't come from that space. I literally have been a loner since I transitioned. I did it for myself. I did not do it for the world. I did it to stay alive, and I am alive today, and it's why I really take my transsexual identity to heart, and it means a lot to me. And so when you start getting pushback from a community that you were in on some level a pioneer and on some level an elder, and then you start getting pushback from people telling you you're a piece of shit or that you're just an old person or go away, like that's hurtful. It's hurtful on so many levels because I am part of that community, but at the same time, I'm scared of that community because I'm scared of what they're doing. People like you are the people who need to be our allies, and people like you are the people who will help change us into being looked at as normal on some level. So if we push you away, then we don't have the people we need in order for us to gain the space we need in the world. That's why I don't play with that rhetoric and that agenda and any of that, because it's not fair to you and it's not fair to me.
It's what I guess it's called peak trans, isn't it?
I don't even know it's happening.
Apparently, that's the point where you go, hang on, this is fucking weird. What's going on? You know,
That's right.
I once saw, we spoke about it years ago on this show or the show we did before, and I said it's a bit like misogyny to me. It's males telling females what to do, and then we moved on and we talked about it and we laughed about it. And I remember I saw a video by Magdalene Burns, who's obviously no longer with us. And when I first saw it, I thought, that's a bit fucking harsh, That's a bit harsh. Because trans people I'd known and met were like you and Debbie Haight and people like that. They just crack on with your life.
Right.
And
That's right.
no one fucks with anybody, You just carry on, you live. And then I was on Twitter, and I think it was an account who's had to leave under amusing circumstances, called Cursed E, who writes you know who I'm talking about. And we were just having a conversation, and I was like, well, I don't get it. I don't see you as a woman, but I'll call you, be whatever you want. And then it turned, and I was like, hang on, what's this? And then I watched more, and I saw women being bullied relentlessly.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think, oh, this can't be right. And 8 Twitter suspensions later, I'm still there. And still
You got 8?
I've had it. I got the week before last. I got 3 in one day. So shit happens. But
it means you're doing something right. No, my friend. It means you're doing something right. It means you're actually creating a space for people to get so angry at you because you're saying something that doesn't agree with them that they have to block you. That means, I'm telling you, my friend, it means you're doing, because you're creating a space in that person's brain who doesn't necessarily listen to anybody, where you trigger. I hate that word, but you know what I mean. You're just like, that's what you're doing, my friend.
I've got to be honest. Making people annoyed is not something I've ever struggled with.
I see that, because you have that great sense of humor. Are you Scottish?
No, I'm English.
What? You're English. I don't know why I keep hearing that specific accent.
No,
you seem Scottish to me.
Well, my wife's Scottish. Maybe it's rubbed off on me. Maybe
It's
a bit.
rubbed off on you because my grandparents are Scottish, and you have the same sense of humor. You just have this,
It's Northern
but I think it's
England.
okay.
It's Northern
Yeah, it
England.
is.
It's down
I love
south.
it.
Down south's the shit bit. Yeah, that's where the shit is. As you get further north, it gets better, depending which side you go to. Scotland, of course, got their own problems at the minute with
Oh,
human
wow.
rights stuff. It's going insane. They're
That's
trying to do
right.
something similar in England. But as I'm sure you're aware, and I definitely wanted to talk to you about this week, Kira Bell won her
Right.
case against the Tavistock.
Yes.
And
Yes.
obviously, I mean, I had a day of it. That day on Twitter, I had pile-on after pile-on of angry kids with confusing
Totally.
pronouns telling me how old and bald I am, as if I don't have a fucking mirror in my house, you know? And I love, sometimes I let them
Right.
carry on for a bit because we've all been young
Yeah,
and we all like to think we're giving
that's
someone a
right.
good talking to.
That's right.
So I do let that happen for a while. But when Kira Bell won that case, I don't think a lot of people online realize the ramifications of
That's
what
right.
happened that day.
That's right.
When it comes to children and transitioning, where do you stand on that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a heavy conversation, friend. Now I'm going to be straight up front here. I do believe there are trans kids, 100%, because I think I was a trans kid. But so moving from that space, most definitely there are trans children. But what I have a problem with is the medicalization of trans kids that young. Like I'm talking, 8, 9, 10, even 16 still seems a little young to me. But at 16, you're kind of still getting your brain, and you have a little bit more substance. You don't have that substance as a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old. So I will be straight up honest with you. I am not about medicalization of youngsters. I think we don't have enough research. On some level, we're using them as an experiment. I think many of these kids are going to wake up when they're old enough to be on their own and go, what the hell just happened? And why did my parents make that choice for me? So that's a really damaging space to get. Once you start doing those transitioning things with hormone blockers, doesn't anybody understand the most important part of becoming a human being is puberty? You're literally going from a child to an adult, and these things are so important for the growth of our brain, for the growth of our body, even for the growth of our genitals. And so I just read something where it said that if you start taking hormone blockers at a young age from a male to female, so a little boy who wants to become a little girl, it will actually make their penis not grow enough that they will not be able to have bottom surgery because they stunted the growth of their penis.
Do you know how I know that's
So
true? The
yeah,
the
how?
woman, I've forgotten her name, which many people will be screaming it at me now. The woman from Mermaids
Oh
who
yeah, I don't know
got
her name either, but who cares? Don't
she
say
got
her name. Don't say
no
her name.
she got her kid she got her kid on puberty blockers, then took the child to Thailand at 16 to have genital surgery because you
Bottom
can't,
surgery.
yeah, you can't do it in this country. No.
No, you
So
can't.
Thailand, and
No.
then she gave TED talks, and she recalled laughing jolly in a very jolly manner how he wasn't really big enough to turn inside out because of the blockers and things. And it's like, you're laughing about
God.
this?
That just actually made me feel like crying. That
Well,
actually made me feel really,
it's child abuse.
wow. It's such child abuse. How dare somebody say something like, how dare, I don't know what's happening out there, but I'm telling you, you know that I do speak up against it because I'm an elder and I have a lived experience in this space. And when people come and attack me that I don't know, go fuck yourself. I have been in this community, which I hate, for a long time, and I have seen a lot of stuff. And I'm telling you, today something's happening that is not normal on some level. We have way too many youngsters. No, I don't have a problem with youngsters claiming trans, non-binary, all of that. That's social transitioning. They're not taking hormones. They're not all of that. Go for it, my friend. Be whatever you need to be. But when you start adding testosterone, hormone blocker, surgery, everything that is so detrimental to how you are. If I cut off my breasts at 16, how am I going to get those breasts back when I decide that maybe I'm not really trans, which is what Kira Bell did? So it's not like we're talking out of our asses, and it's not like it's not real. But every day I see a new detransitioner, as well as you probably do.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Notice,
The TRAs
is.
The TRAs are claiming it's a 1%. I
Nope.
looked into this. There is no data available. And that was one of the problems at the Kira Bell case. You know, when the TRAs say only 1% detransition, puberty blockers are fully reversible.
It's not true.
No, of course it's not true. And
No.
why didn't the Tavistock present that evidence? Why don't they record detransition rates? Of course they lost. Now you've got a bigger problem because Joe Moore, that lawyer that beat foxes to death with a baseball bat, lovely man. He's just a piece of shit. He's getting involved now and saying we want to look at international standards and we want to appeal. And I guarantee they'll want to base it on Canada, where kids are being taken off their parents and medicated.
That's right.
Children.
That's right. Children. I have an 8-year-old, my friend. If anyone ever tried to take my kid away from me, they never saw all hell break loose. I'm telling you. What are we doing? You cannot take kids away from parents. Above and beyond anything else, that connection to your parents is so goddamn important. It's a real thing. It's an actual, to take a child away from a parent because you think that you are doing, why do you think you're doing the better job than the parent? Right? What gives you the right to say that I'm not raising my child the right way because I'm questioning whether or not they're actually trans at 8 years old? And you are not a good parent if you don't question that. You are not a good parent if you don't question anything at 8 years old.
Have you seen them on Reddit? The moms on Reddit? My 2-year-old plays with those. I think, and now it's she. It was a boy. I think she's trans. It's like, what are you talking about? No.
Yeah.
It might be nothing. Maybe your child will grow up to be gay or straight or just ordinary. Stop. Let them grow up. Be there for them.
That's right.
But don't start talking about transitioning them, for fuck's sake, because I don't. My knowledge of transitioning, the only thing I can imagine for people that are genuinely trans is it must be an incredibly painful and difficult time. You're in turmoil. You can only be happy if you live in a different way. You've got to make massive changes. Why would you push your child into that?
Doesn't make sense to me. That's why I'm looking at it. I'm not just some player on the side. I literally went through this whole situation. I had an amazing childhood. I did not have a bad childhood. My parents treated me like a boy. I was just that little tomboy, but I had an awesome childhood. It wasn't until puberty. So that's why I understand the puberty thing. I get it. It's not fun growing boobs. It's not fun getting your period. Women don't even like that. So that being said, it's a transitional period that's happening. So we're not having this conversation to these youngsters who are claiming trans. Again, we need to have this conversation. That's why we don't do sex ed. We don't talk about puberty. We don't talk about any of the things that are happening in a normal way. So when a child is like, oh my God, I think I'm a dude because I hate these boobs and I can't stand being that's just maybe a societal thing that could be happening. And that's why I believe in mental health care. If we're not even sending these kids to mental health care, when you have something that's called self-ID, what is that? That seems so insane to me. Like, so insane that you'll let a 13-year-old self-ID tell his parents to go screw yourself. I'm going to take hormones, and the parents have no say-so. I've never seen it's going to kill us. It's going to kill the trans community. I'm telling you, it's the worst thing that could ever be happening to us. Ever.
I often said at the end of this, because the pendulum always swings back and forth.
That's right.
The victims will be transsexuals and women. Because us men will be okay. We're fine. We don't care who pisses next to us. And the activists will just fucking slope away.
That's right. You are so right, my friend.
They'll leave you all behind, lying in the fucking dirt, and they won't care. And the funny thing is, I'm not going to mention, I know there's a couple of, again, I don't belong to anyone's fucking group. I'm not even gender.
Neither do I.
I'm not even gender critical because I don't give a fuck what people do or call themselves. I'm anti-bullying. I'm anti-harassment. I'm anti those things. And I know there's groups that would be considered genuine hate groups towards transphobes, and they've made me party to conversations they are actively having of how do we support transsexuals when this finally does turn around. They're not looking at how to bury you, it's how to support you, you know?
That's what I know. Look, dude, I have so many friends like you, my friend. I don't have a ton of trans friends. Most of my family, my friends, everyone is cisgender, is all just out there. I don't live in this bubble of trans. They've created this. I've been a transition for 25 plus years. I have an amazing life. How come I didn't have any of that? I got bullied as a kid. I got all of that shit. We all do. Not only trans people get bullied, lots of people get bullied, and everyone deals with it. And sexuality, gender, whatever you're dealing with, body stuff, they're acting as if trans people are the only marginalized people in the whole space. I made it out alive, and I celebrate my life, and I want people out there in the world to see how awesome it is what I did. When you see people like that, people hate trans people because they're being trans people are insanely angry, biting at people, I'm going to kill you, whipping out their penis, showing. Look, who does that? I've never done that. Never ever. That's not how you make change. You make change by connecting.
Yeah. It's not a way to make friends. I suppose under some circumstances it could be, but in general, I don't think it's the best way of winning people over.
Nope.
I believe a lot of it. It's this. I mean, we've got a whole generation of people brought up by the end of the sort of the boomers, you know, who had kids,
right.
and they've never been told no. They've never been told no.
True.
I demand you call me this. No. Oh, then you hate trans people. It's like, I don't hate trans people. You must do, because you won't respect my pronouns. It's like, I won't respect your pronouns because I think you are a fucking asshole, regardless of being trans. Your gender is not my problem. And it's but I'm marginalized. It's like, dude, you're a 6'3" dude harassing people on the internet, trying to smash people's heads in. You're not marginalized.
Yeah, it's so sad. Wow, where did that come? Where did this new generation of trans women who are so hateful and mean? That's why I'm telling you, they're different than the trans women I hang out with. The trans women I know are respectful, want to educate, aren't that way, don't push against biological women, don't take up space. They want to coexist, and those are the trans women I know. They're like me.
Well,
and so I don't know who those trans women are. Yeah, that is the idea.
Just that you go through life in society as who you are. End of.
That's right.
Go do it.
Done.
I don't walk around demanding people acknowledge the fact that I'm a heterosexual male. and then one setting, what if I use the wrong pronouns for you? I couldn't give a flying fuck. What makes you think I care what you say or think about?
That's right.
Yeah, everyone's the center of the universe now. This is the problem we've got. And I think they live in such a comfortable existence, which we all do in the West now, let's be even the worst of it. They have to find a way to be a victim. And you look how they treat minorities like they're their pets. You know,
it's really bizarre behavior. I don't come from that. So I don't understand it. And it's not activism. That is not activism. Activism is when you create a space where we all can sort of have equal rights, human rights. I don't think you don't want me to have the same rights. Of course you do. And that's not the case. The case is that they're overriding other people. You can't come in and take space over. You got to actually talk to the other people and say, hey, wait a minute, we're ladies too. But how can we make it so you're comfortable and we're comfortable? But they're not having that conversation. They're just like, wham!
But that's the other thing, isn't it? That's where self-ID is a problem. Before, I don't think many women cared if a transsexual, trans woman used the toilet. I don't think they gave a shit because they knew someone that's gone through the process. They've done everything they can. Mm-hmm. Yes, they might not want to run a 100-meter race against them, but that's another fucking problem. But they just got on, and now you've got women that look like me with the same original equipment that I have, going, I need access to your rape crisis centre, your women's refuge, your toilets, your sports. And when a woman says, I don't fancy that, it's like, you bigot, you monster. I've had that debate about trans women offenders in women's prisons. And so the first thing they tell me is, but they're women, so they should be there. I'm like, yeah, but they're male. Males are dangerous. These are not nice people. They're in fucking prison. Nice people don't often go to prison.
You're right.
Especially for sexual offences.
Right.
You know? But it's like, I'm asking, well, they said, well, what about their dignity? I'm like, I don't fucking care about their dignity. I'm sorry. You know, but they don't attack many people. It's like, how many is it before it's a problem?
That's right. That's a good point right there.
But
right.
they don't care. They don't care. It all comes down to, I'm special. I'm a victim. Right. Do everything I want, or you're literally killing me. I wish they'd learn what that fucking word meant. That pisses me off so much. Literally.
Literally, I know.
It's like, no, I'm literally
Actually, you're not. Yeah, you're literally not killing them. That's so excellent.
I'm not hurting you at all. You know,
I'm not even touching you, actually.
It's just words. They're just words. Can't we just get past this? And you know,
no, we can't, because it's smart of them. Do you know what they're doing? It's smart. They're actually they've actually created a space where you can't have conversation. And when you try to have conversation, they literally call you transphobe, TERF, whatever the fuck else they're calling these days. I don't even know. I'm a trans medicalist. Whenever you don't, so what they do is
trans scum.
I'm trans scum. That's what I am. Trans scum. Like, how fucking rude is that? I took it up the ass 25 years ago for these people, and they're literally calling me these names. I'm like, wow, that's when I knew our community is no longer a community. So I want people out there to understand that I'm not part of that mix. I don't understand this new ideology. I don't understand the trans umbrella thing. It's great. I think it's awesome that kids can find their space now. They can be non-binary, whatever they need to be. But that said, don't come into my space. Because my space is different than that space. I literally had a sex change. They don't like that I say I had a sex change. They hate it. They
of course they don't.
Why? Why do you hate it? Why?
I think Magdalene Burns said about that, Alex, again, I don't remember his surname. I've been reading about you and doing a website all day. All the other shit's just falling on my head. But Alex Drummond, there we go. He's a man that wears a dress that you have to call a woman, or you get whatever.
You get in trouble.
Yeah, and I remember Magdalene Burns with that wicked way she had about her. She said, Alex doesn't want to have a sex change. He's frightened. She went, well, of course you are. They cut your cock off. And that's what they want it all. They want it all. All I see is, I'm going to be honest with you, with these people, is men finally finding a way to tell lesbians they have to sleep with them. That's a lot of what I see. And we saw a video, we showed it on the show. She was a young girl, she was like 19 or 20. And she just said, I don't really like cock. She was a lesbian. Of course she doesn't, you know.
Of course she doesn't, right.
She was brutalized until she apologized in tears. And I mean, she was brutalized by these people online. And she put another video up. She was crying. She was apologizing, saying she was wrong. Because sexuality must be erased. It's got to be same gender attraction so that men can move in. Now, I never used to see much from trans men. Because usually that's people becoming blokes, and blokes don't usually behave like that. You just fucking crack on.
That's right.
You know,
you just leave it.
Yeah. But now, after reading through your feed, I'm like, oh shit, they're the same.
They are. They are.
And I feel like telling someone, it's like, this is not how to be a man. I'm gonna be honest.
You should say that.
You're manning wrong. This is not
you're manning up.
This is not what we do, you know. You don't sit around bitching at people. You just go out there. You talk at the urinals and piss on each other's shoes, and you just
totally. I love it. Oh my God, totally, man. it's the most amazing thing being a dude. That's what I do. I totally hang out with dudes in the fucking bathroom. No one's ever complained. You have to understand that it's a different space for trans women.
Of
And
course
look at
it
me. I
is.
look like a dude. I walk the world. No one gives a shit. It's much harder, I think, for a man to become a woman. But that said, so what I'm called is a transsexual person who passes, right? Passing is the thing, which I wanted to achieve. I didn't want to look part woman, part man. I wanted to always look like a man. So I pass, but I make a huge effort to do this. You know that. I work out in the gym. I really make myself look as masculine as possible because that's what I want the world to see. Now we have people in our community who don't have any desire to look the opposite gender. They just want to be that. I don't understand that. That is not my space. I don't know. But what I do say to them is then you can't get pissed off when someone calls you she and you're a he, but you look like a she. You have to have some form of understanding and logic when you deal with the world. And the world sees a woman, they're going to say she. Even though your pronouns are he and they might see a she and they might say she until you correct. But people are getting their shit all up in a space when someone misgenders, yet they're not making an effort to sort of take the same space that I did, which is to look male. No one ever calls me she anymore. They just, unless they want to be a dick. But other than that, nope, no one calls me a she. So I don't know. That's the issue on some level that I have. I just feel like there's not this desire to sort of
I think
help people.
even if trans women, the modern trans is so hard because
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm offending some of the trans people that follow me. They're decent people, but I always feel
No,
bad
you're
because
not.
but it's like I'm poking them, and they're not the people I'm
Yeah,
getting at.
you're not.
But you know what? Collateral damage happens. I can't fucking help that. You know.
I know.
But it's it's if they even made the effort. You know, number one, want to look like shave the fucking beard off.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't, because all the trans women friends I have are total women. They look what they want to be. They would never have a beard. So I honestly, I do,
It's forcing,
no
isn't it?
disrespect for any. I just don't understand it, and I want to. So what I'm saying is this: I don't understand it as a transsexual person, but what I want people to understand in the trans community, people who are choosing not to pass, you cannot get pissed off at the rest of the world because this is how we see things. We see things black. We see gender. I see gender. I see male and female. That's where my brain works. That's where most people's brain works. So when you don't look female and you're not even trying to look female, how can you expect the world to just be like, not be okay with that? They're just not going to be okay. Maybe in 2040 they might, but now people are still just sort of trying to understand what trans is. And now trans is something I don't even know. Honestly, ask me what trans is. I couldn't give you a definition because I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't know.
I didn't know what it meant before, and now it just means a load of whiny arseholes to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Just every time you
That's
log
the
in,
other part.
Yeah, every time you log in Twitter.
Yeah.
And of course, I can't help myself. I just have to jump straight in feet first, and there's
I
loads
love
of
reading your shit.
angry kids. I just can't help it. I have to say
I know.
what I think, and I'm not going to lie. The angrier they get, the more I enjoy it.
You know, That's right. That's why the whole thing is so stupid. Because if they don't want to fix things, my friend, they want to argue with you. They want to be dicky. They don't want to create change. They're so full of shit. That TRA shit. No way. They do not want to create change. Because if they wanted to create change, they would see the type of work I've done for 20 years, and I've created a shit ton of change. Let me tell you. That said, it's because I literally went into it coexisting. I never pushed on you. I never said, fuck you, I'm a dude if you don't like it. I never said that. I said, yeah, I used to be a lady, and yeah, blah, 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 explaining myself. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, because I was logical and like literally like, this is how it is, dude. So, you know, whatever those people are doing today, they are making a big mess out of something that is going to be detrimental to not only me, but to youngsters, to the future of the transgender community. And I'm very scared. I'm scared for the future.
That's where we're at a position now where they're advocating experimental drugs. And by the way, as in the UK, it's now no one under 16 can have them without legal approval.
That's right. That's right.
There are some well-known people on Twitter talking about getting crowdfunders together so that parents can take their children to Gender GP the people that were thrown out of the UK basically because they were operating without a license, who are now in Spain, and they will get those drugs to your kids.
Wait, what's the name of that organization?
Gender.
And they moved from the UK to Spain because they got shut down in the UK?
Oh, yeah, they got shut down here because they were operating without a license. Gender GP.
What's the name of Gender GP?
Yeah, and...
no, that's upsetting and that's scary. Because there was an actual doctor here in the United States. Oh, Scott's doctor. You know Scott on Twitter, and how he talks a lot about his bottom surgery and how it went way. I mean, he's been so sick from it; it totally messed him up so bad. Oh, it makes my heart break. But that same doctor literally got. Now I'm going to be using that word literally. Went to got nailed for the bad surgeries. He did like 5 bad, horrible surgeries, and then they sued him or something in California. All he did was move to Texas. He moved to Texas, opened another clinic, and he's doing bottom surgery again. This is how we do not have any oversight in our trans medical, which is completely everywhere. There's no such thing as trans medical. We don't have school for it. We're not teaching people. People are just saying, I'm a trans doctor or I'm a trans clinic. And how are you a trans clinic? How did you get your status? And what is it that you understand what I'm saying?
No.
That's the part of the problem
if you think about this, the TRAs are gung-ho for sending kids into this situation because it's literally killing them if you don't. And it's almost
Which is bullshit. That's a lie.
Of course it is. And it's like a religious cult. Get them young.
Yep.
Get them young.
Yep.
Get them in.
Ooh.
And unlike a religious cult, once you've been on the puberty blockers and gone down that pathway onto hormone replacement therapy, there's no turning back. Look at poor Kira Bell with just a deep voice. You know, and she's got to live with that for the rest of her life.
That's right.
A bad choice as a child. You know,
it's upsetting. It upsets me.
We all make shitty choices as teenagers. That's what being a teenager is about, isn't it? You know,
yeah. But you don't cut your tits off.
No. Our parents made sure they weren't permanent.
That's right. I did drugs. I cut myself. I did fucked up shit when I was a kid. Angry, mean, all over the fucking place. But I didn't. Everything I did, it's not damaging enough that I couldn't fix it. If that makes sense. I could fix everything I damaged. But when you cut off your breasts and you have a hysterectomy and you take hormones, none of that's gonna be fixed. And I don't care. I don't understand why we are having this conversation. It doesn't make sense to me. How come you wouldn't just be logical about it and say, yeah, you're right. That's gonna physically change a child to where you cannot reverse those changes. How are we just being okay about that? It's frustrating to me because I want to have a conversation.
Into a strange place.
That's right.
But in the UK, the only thing that gives me some hope is that groups like Stonewall and others are no longer allowed to be part of, have input on the school curriculum and things like that. We've slammed down hard on all that born in the wrong body stuff. That's gone. You can't use that. Even mermaids and all the rest have turned away from it now because it's been made clear you can't do that. And so, of course, the TRAs are saying, well, you're getting what you want, you're erasing. I was just like, no, that's not what I want to do. I just think you need to stop fucking with people. We need to find
Look at that. If they listen to you. If right here you're talking to me and I'm listening to you and everything you're saying to me makes a lot of sense. And as a trans person, it makes a lot of sense. So I don't understand why other trans people aren't just having the conversation. Like me and you are having the conversation right here.
Because they want us to obey.
But it's weird. That's what I don't understand. I don't want you to obey me. I want you to understand me. I want you to say, yeah, there's some kids out there who probably are going to need to do this, but I want a safety space there. I'm sure you agree with me. We want safety. We don't want kids just being thrown all these drugs and told that they're that. They need mental health care. The number one thing they need is mental health care. And then from there, we just we go through the cycle and we bring them like little baby birds and care for them. We don't just slam them full of drugs and be like, hopefully this works and hopefully you're trans.
Well, this gender GP are outraged with the decision. Amazing that a company that makes a lot of money is outraged. So they're trying to set up a charitable trust to allow it to happen. So I know there's some people seeing if we can get in touch with the regulators and say, look, stop it. Because we know that in 10 years, 15
Yeah.
years. This is finished. I was talking to.
Yeah.
He's dead now. He killed himself. It was
Oh.
a male. Sorry, female to male,
Oh.
trans Charlie. I used
Oh.
to know him. I didn't know him incredibly well, but he was part of a
Oh.
circle that I moved in, which is about horror fandom and writing, and people write
Uh-huh. Yeah.
magazines. And Charlie
Uh-huh.
was part of that group. And I remember we had a conversation about this, and it was like no one gets space. No one is allowed to develop, with
That's
support. Instead, it's this pathway, and in 10, 20 years, there's something. This was Charlie's opinion. There's something. I could never quote him, by the way, because he worked for a university.
right.
So he
Oh,
couldn't say
yeah.
a word,
That's right.
But he said in that time, this is going to come good, if you will, and we're going to
Yeah.
see the carnage this has caused. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, everything became too much for Charlie, and Charlie, a couple of years ago now, left us. But he was
Oh,
under
I'm
no
so
illusion.
sad.
He was under no illusion that this was going to turn out incredibly badly. And I think if he'd been alive and seen the Kira Bell's case, I think he would have said to me, that's the start of it now.
That's right. That's right. It is the start of it. So what happens now is that the TRA has pushed the agenda so far over here. Now what's going to happen is this side is going to push back all far over here. It's just how that happens. And I'm telling you, I've been saying it for years. You watch what's going to happen. Tons of detransitioners. No, Buck, you're just saying I love. Well, look what's happening now. And everyone just shoves that conversation under the rug. They don't want to talk about detransitioners. No
Isn't that
way.
the problem? Isn't that when when they tell
No
you
way.
like you're too old to understand? I'm very old.
Totally.
What they don't realise is, yes, we are older than them. Yes, excuse me. Yes, we will probably die before them, maybe. But we've also seen a lot of shit, and we know how people work through experience. But the problem is, of course, you must remember when you were 18, you knew everything. No one
That's
could,
so true.
no one could tell you anything. All old people are stupid. And now I've got my father. My father's like 82, and my son's 8 years old. And every once in a while, he'll tell me, "Not long now, not long now," because my son's like, "I love you, Dad. You're the best dad in the world." And we're still at that phase, and it's beautiful. But my dad's always there watching, giving it, yeah. Enjoy it while it lasts. So I try and make allowances for some of these young people, right up until
Of course.
they start threatening, doxing, losing people jobs.
Yes.
I mean, I saw that on your post. They were going after people you give talks, because you give talks and lectures,
Yep.
and you travel
Yep, I
around.
do.
That's what you do.
Yes.
And they're trying to get you shut down for that. And
Oh, they totally tried. They tried it out of a trans conference. Don't fuck with me, people. I'm telling you, I will not stand for. I'm not scared of anybody. I called that place and I said, you better have a conversation with me or you're going to fucking regret it. And that fucking conference won't last next year because I'll make sure I take all you out. You're a hypocrite, fucked up people. And they called me. They were like, please don't. And I was like, no, you need to have a conversation. And I want this actually put out there in the public that you had the conversation with me and that it was wrong for you to take me out of that conference. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it because I said, I'm the first person. You think there's going to be somebody next after me? Yeah, there is. And you're going to start picking and choosing who gets to speak at trans conferences. I put 25 plus years into this goddamn community. There is no way you're going to just take me out because some trans woman doesn't like the way I speak. Are you kidding me? And he was like, no, Buck, you are totally right. It was wrong of them to take you out. It was wrong of them to do that. And you're right. It will actually start the ball of this happening. And I'm like, why is our community so weird about shutting down other voices?
Oh,
The voices that don't align.
cancel culture. It's I hate the phrase. Classic liberal. I'm a liberal.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too.
Free speech, freedom. I'm an atheist, but I believe in freedom of religion. Yep. I don't care what your genitals are. I don't care how you live, what you call yourself. Be happy. Be happy. Don't fuck with me. That's it.
That's right.
But the left has gone so far away from liberalism. And I think that's part of the problem we're seeing because the far left is very authoritarian.
Uh-huh.
Now, we already know that the actual far right, Not what these guys call far right, because
Right.
anyone to the right of Chairman Mao is far right to these motherfuckers. But the actual far right, we know the problems with those guys. But they're a lot simpler to fucking deal with,
I know, it's true.
It rarely swings that far away. I mean, look where we're at in history now that we're trying to cancel historical figures who don't meet modern standards. I mean, I was, chatting to a couple of we need to tear down our statues of Winston Churchill because he did concentration camps in the Boer War, and he wasn't a nice man. And I'm like, guys,
yeah, but wow, that's called history.
And if you don't like him, wait till I tell you about the other guy. Jesus, stop.
Which guy? I know.
Hitler.
And the thing. Oh my God. It's so insane that they want to literally take out history as if it doesn't even exist. You know what? Whether or not that guy was a bad, mean person and did all kinds of crazy shit like we have here, tons of monuments with fucking racist, crazy people. Who cares? All we need to do is start changing and teaching about these narratives.
Yeah, and also,
we don't need to rip sculptures down. We need to talk about why that sculpture was put there. Maybe put the history on it. Like, this guy did. I think it's so important that we actually talk about it.
Though. What I think is important is that people learn that this man did this, it was wrong as well, but we needed him because people aren't good or bad. Human beings aren't binary. Sex is binary, but human beings, I had to get that in at least once. Human beings aren't binary, and we used to fight against being pigeonholed.
Yeah.
But now people can't crawl into those fucking boxes fast enough. They want to be perceived as one thing. And I can't think of anyone I know personally who can be pinned down as right, left. There's a million things in life, and it's all a spectrum. Using all their favourite words now, aren't they?
You sure are, my friend.
But human perception is, but it's not good enough now. You have to be in a neat little box, and that's the problem with you for them, because you don't fit the box they want you to be in. So the nearest box they can put you in is the same shitty box they keep putting me in. It's a tough shit on that one. And that's how it is now. Everyone has to be categorized. There's no nuance. There's no allowance for being a human being. So if someone did something bad, they are bad. But bad is only judged by them.
By them, right.
So if they take away your entire living, your child, you deserve it. It's okay. You take away their living, evil. But what they don't realise is it will come round and bite them in the arse. They love all these hate crime laws. Look at Sarah Phillimore from Fair Cop. We had her on here just a few weeks ago. She's got a case going through about the non-crime hate incidents that are recorded permanently on your record. So if you were in the UK and I said, Buck, you're a woman, you might tell me to go fuck myself and that'd be finished. But you could also report me to the police. And the police would say, well, we're not satisfied that's a crime. Or I could say, I don't believe in gender. I don't believe in sex. Something even less. Yeah, it's not a crime, but we will record it for 6 years on your record. And potential employers, these are non-crime.
But what's the record? So the record... Where is the record? Is it like in
the police
system
hold it? Yeah, and if you're going for a job where they have to do a deep check,
right? It'll be on your record there.
It will come up that I have committed hate incidents.
Oh my God! Actually, that is so incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. Now,
wow.
This is the only possible end result of all the hate crime legislation, because. It started with hate crimes that I never understood. If I kill you, whether I killed you because you're trans or because I didn't like your hat, should be irrelevant. I have killed you. There should not be an extra tariff for one and the other. They say this teaches people not to kill, to which I've said, how many murders do you think are actually planned?
That's right.
Most violent death is spur of the moment shit,
That's right.
But this is where hate crime goes. So now we've got it to the point where everything's a crime. If I misgender someone, it can be recorded as a hate incident. If I disagree with them, for fuck's sake, it's a hate incident. So she's fighting that now. They're trying to take the College of Policing to court to get this ridiculous thing overturned. But this is the shit we're fighting. There's layers and layers. These it's not the TRAs, but where it comes from, critical theory, critical race theory, critical social justice theory. This all flows like queer theory as well. It all flows from that. We're in a position where we're being controlled by authoritarians. They might use gender, they might use race, whatever it is, but it's to further a control. We're living in a time where on a social media platform that we use, pedophiles are welcome.
I know. They're changing the name to what? Don't they call themselves maps now or something?
Maps. I have been told off many times for talking with them. Well, I say talking with them. I even know that I've interacted briefly with the doctor who was responsible for them being allowed on the platform. I think next year we might interact a little more deeply. I'm just waiting for that because I've got to weigh up the legal implications of what I want to say about a certain group in the States. But once I've got that nailed down, I'm having that. We're living in this strange time where we're supposed to be permissive of everything, but only if these guys approve of it.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't want to live like that. I want to live within the normal law, and if I upset you, tough shit.
Dude, go walk away. We're teaching the most insane. First off, I don't know what's happening. This idea that you can police my language. You can never police my language. Go fuck yourself. I'll say whatever I want. I live in a free country. You can make laws all you want. But let me tell you something. Those laws, what you just told me right there, are actually what's going to come back to bite us in the ass. That kind of stuff is so insanely fascist, Marxist, like just literally putting over like this idea that we can control what you just said, the way we speak. And so what's happening is those activists.
This because I saw a post from Zuby saying, why don't more white guys identify as black lesbians?
I love that guy. He's hilarious.
Oh, Zuby's brilliant. And but I looked at that and I thought, do you know what? Why can't I put in my bio on Twitter race and gender fluid, so I can be whatever I want in any conversation and report people accordingly. So, for example, next time someone calls me cis, I can decide that at that moment in time, I'm a black lesbian.
That's right. No, you could totally do that.
So I think it's time that more of us decided that we are very delicate, fragile little flowers and we need protecting by the Twitter.
That's right.
So I think I've got a bit too much to do before Christmas, but I'm thinking next year we might have a little bit of fun with that.
I thought about doing that. I thought about changing my pronouns and really fucking people up and putting she and lady. I'm going back to living as a lady.
Just he, she.
He, she. Actually, I thought that too. I will just fucking.
It's what they need, dude. It's what they need,
I know. I'm totally on board. They're just going to tear me apart with this, and they're going to say that I'm anti-trans, I'm transphobic. No, I'm not. And anybody out there who calls me transphobic, that's transphobic in itself, number one. Number two, I am a transsexual man who has my own thought, my own way of being. I am not anti-trans. I am actually pro-trans in the sense that I want you to have the same life I have, but I will not connect with people who are mean, disrespectful, angry, want to push against the rest of the world, and don't take the time to educate. That's not part of my platform or where I come from. And I have a beautiful life because you care about me. I know that about you. You care about me. You don't want me to die and be fucked up, slung out over there on the street. You actually do. I know that. You wouldn't have reached out to have a conversation.
No.
So that's the reason I want people to see me and you connected. You are not transphobic, that you get called a lot. You are not any of those things. You're a guy who has a sense of being, who wants to have a logical conversation so that we can all move forward. And that's what people are missing, shutting down the conversation. Now, your feelings might get hurt, people, but that's part of real life. Your feelings get hurt in
They
real
will
life.
get better. They will get better. I promise. I promise. Have a little cry and just get it
God,
out
it's
your
so
system.
pathetic. Pathetic. I grew up
But
in a different space. My dad would, I'm not saying you should beat, but my dad would be like, shut the fuck up and get over there. And I learned from that. Like, just
yeah,
shut the fuck up and do it.
deal with shit. Just deal with
Deal
shit.
with it. Yeah. Deal
Life's
with it.
life's hard, and you have no right to
And
demand. No one has a right
that's
to
right.
demand I make their life easier.
That's
And
right, my
that's what
friend.
they say to
How can
me.
they even do that?
Well, they say to me, you must respect trans people. And I'm like, well, trans people aren't a
You
monolith.
do.
But no,
That's right.
but I don't
That's right.
respect trans people because they're trans any more than I
Well,
respect women because they're women.
that's right. I
I
hear you.
respect
I hear
people.
you.
And if
I
someone,
hear you.
if I deem
Yeah.
someone worthy of respect, I
That's
will
right.
give them respect.
That's right.
But the minute you tell me I must respect you, you
It's
fucked
funny.
it. You fucked it.
Totally.
Because
You
it's
can't
never
force
going to
people.
happen. You
That's
must.
right.
I love that. You must. Is it? Who's
Must.
that?
Yeah.
Who's that? Really? I'm going to be very politically incorrect. Is it
I
Jeffrey?
probably blocked them.
No, there's
Jeffrey.
a non-binary one that does video.
Oh,
Creepy
that's the
motherfucker.
Jeffrey Marsh. The Jeffrey
Ooh,
Marsh person.
the one that
Is it
tells
him?
kids they can get in
Okay.
touch with him,
Oh,
and
and that's the other one.
his channel's a
There's
safe
an.
space.
I know that's so creepy. I can't believe these guys get away with that stuff. Like
Oh, but
what, man? Don't.
he said you will respect me, and it's like, dude,
Good luck with that.
I decided I wasn't going to respect you the minute I started the video. You are not helping shit right now. Yeah, I believe I'm blocked
You're like,
now.
really? Click.
I get blocked a lot. I don't know why.
So
Even
do
by
I.
but even by the ones that usually sue everybody.
That's so brilliant.
They've clearly looked at me and thought he's not got enough money. He's just
No,
not.
they
Worth it.
see you. They see you coming, dude. They're like, I'm blocking that. And oh, he's friends with Buck Angel. I'm blocking that shit up.
That shit, dude. But this has flown by. This has flown. We've done an hour.
Wow, I
It's flown
know.
by.
I knew that. I knew I would totally, me and you would totally be
Yeah, it's
doing
been
it.
great.
I knew
I'm
it.
really glad you came on, dude. Really, really glad. And I
Yeah,
hope we
thank
will
you for
see you
taking the
again.
time with me. Yeah,
No,
thank you. It really
it's been
means
my
a lot.
pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And there were a couple of comments I was going to
Excellent.
read out, but they've gone past now. In fact, a lot of them have
Okay.
gone past now. There was one about you
Okay.
teaching Graham to be manly. Graham usually does the show with me.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, but he usually he runs the desk on a Thursday, and sometimes we do the show
Okay,
together
yeah.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
he's got a poorly tummy.
No,
And I
no.
know I think he needs a poo. He needs a refreshing poo. But
Is he eating fiber? You know, fiber is your friend.
well, I'll get you back on with him, and you can have a good chat about
Yeah.
his diet,
That would.
and also how to man the fuck up. That'd be really good.
How to man up, dude. Totally. You know, I get called toxic. I'm toxic masculinity, by the way. What the fuck is so toxic? I'm like,
Oh,
how am I
100%.
toxic?
What is it? Obviously you've got internalized transphobia.
Transphobia.
And I believe in direct message earlier, I did call you a self-hating tranny. So
That's right. I'm a self-hating tranny. Yay. I hate myself.
I have judged. Buck, it's been an absolute pleasure, dude. It really, really
yeah,
has.
right on, my
And
Right on.
next year, which isn't as far away as it sounds, I
Yeah.
hope you'll come back on, join us again, maybe see who
course.
else we can get on and really stir some
Yeah.
shit up.
Totally. I mean, you know what? Thank you for the time, my friend. It means a lot to me. And like, just keep doing your thing. I'll keep doing my thing. Eventually, the world is going to come back down from wherever it is right now.
Either
And
that
I
or
think all of this. Oh,
either
this
that
is
or
just
we'll be dead and
detrimental.
gone and it'll be somebody else's problem.
I hope so. I hope I'm fucking dead and gone. Right on.
Buck, it's been
Okay,
awesome,
my
mate.
friend.
Take care,
Have
and
a
I'll
good
speak
one.
to you
Talk to
very,
you
very
later.
soon.
Right on,
Cheers,
my
mate.
friend.
Bye-bye. There we go. Now we have sound. Sorry about that. Okay. I was saying I'm absolutely over the moon. Buck joined us. I can't wait to have him on the show again. What a brilliant guy. I really, really enjoyed that. We've been blessed with the guests recently, haven't we? That was enjoyable. Next week, Richie Allen is joining us in the studio live. We will be starting around 9 p.m, I imagine, but I'll get the post up in plenty of time. The week after that is our Christmas show, which we'll have people dropping in via feed, but we need to do a couple of old-fashioned shows, because I know I've had some wonderful feedback from you guys about the guests. I'm so glad you enjoyed it as much as I have. But I've also had people saying, but what about the other stuff? Basically, this fat bald bloke shouting at clouds. So we're going to find a balance, because I don't think a guest every week is sustainable for a show as tiny as ours. But having said that, next year I've not booked them to dates yet, so I can't announce them, but I've already spoken to 3 or 4 really, really interesting guests, some of whom will join us in the studio. So I am out there looking for people that I know I want to talk to, that I'll enjoy talking to, so hopefully you will as well. But on that note, Graham, I do hope you managed to have a successful bowel movement soon. You feel better, dude. I'm sorry. I know you've enjoyed this tonight down at the studio. And remember, join us next week on Thursday. Richie Allen is live with us in the studio. And if you can't wait till then for some kind of trigger warning fix, you need to join Smoke Steve for the International Pub on Saturday at 11 p.m. UK time. It's an open house. If you've got a webcam and a mic, you can join in up to 10 people at a time. It's really cool. I drop in when I can. I always end up staying far too late because I drink and enjoy myself. So do check out Smoke Steve's International Pub on this channel Saturdays at 11 p.m. UK time until it's finished. I think we just wait for Biscuit Vapes to pass out, and that's when we know that it's over. And then after that, do come join me next week for Richie Allen. That should be a really good chat that we have. And thanks again to Buck Angel. Dude, that was fantastic. Thank you guys for watching. And remember, please share the vids. It helps us out a huge amount. Click like, subscribe, share them around, see if anybody else wants to watch us. And if you're really feeling flush, get yourself over to Patreon and join up there to help us keep the lights on. But until then, if you don't want to do any of that, just keep watching, hanging out. Take care, guys. And I'll see you next week. Have fun.